The Chase Sapphire Reserve, which is a newly refreshed card, is already getting major updates to one of its credits, and also a new one. Today we're going to look at all of these changes, some strategies you can use, and also my wish list for the card, especially if they are listening. Big favor, give this a thumbs up to help with the algorithm, and share what changes you'd like to see down below. First up is the one-time up to $250 credit for select Chase travel hotels for this year. This is for two cards, the Chase Sapphire Reserve and the Chase Sapphire Reserve for Business. It seems pretty easy to use. It works on eligible prepaid hotels booked through Chase Travel. This also is different from their other credits, so it's separate from the annual travel credit and the edit by Chase Travel credit. My guess for why this is here is that a lot of card members weren't happy. The credit should show up in your portal and it's good through December 31st, 2026. No activation, just book of your card, and you do have to book the prepaid Pay Now option. Also, there is a 2-night stay required. Eligible hotels include IHG, Montage, Pedri, Omni, Virgin, Minor, and Pan Pacific. With IHG being there, it should be super easy. The main reason being that they have a big portfolio that ranges from Six Senses down to Holiday Inns. So whether you prefer fancy resorts in tropical destinations or chilling at the Holiday Inn waiting for the party to begin, you have choices. Speaking of credits, they also updated how the edit one works. It's still mostly the same, up to $250, prepaid bookings with the edit hotels, and up to $500 annually. Instead of it being semi-annually though, it's now fully available. So before to use it, January to June, you had to book 2 nights, and July to December 2 nights. Now you can do 2 nights, let's say same trip or back-to-back stays. There are still terms to be cautious of. So it does have to be prepaid Pay Now bookings and the 2-night stay minimum. At the moment at least, it's still frustratingly limited, especially abroad. For example, we're looking to visit Osaka, and I'm only seeing 4 options: W Osaka, 4 Seasons, Ritz-Carlton, and Intercontinental, totaling 4. For another very popular platform, you have 7 options, with the addition of Conrad, St. Regis, and Waldorf Astoria. I usually go to Hong Kong once or twice a year, and it's pretty problematic there as well. Here you have 3 choices, and all of them being pretty expensive. Competing platforms have 13, some being way more affordable like the Langham or Grand Hyatt depending on dates. These platforms have a 1-night minimum, making it easier to use their respective credits. If you're more of a deal seeker and these prices sound a bit too aggressive, then the shining beacon is going to be Vegas. Running through some great options and looking at next November, Nomad at $145 per night or $419 all in is pretty solid. Cosmo at $219 per night or $583 total is not bad at all. Bellagio at $161 is a deal, so $454 all in. If you're a super deal seeker, then Park MGM is $105 per night, so $328 for 2 nights, which is great to minimize out of pocket. On the very low end, MGM Grand is $52 per night, so $212 total. Mind you that this is a random search during the off season, so prices can and probably will change. The idea though is that there are viable options. You also don't have to go during off season, so I ended up booking end of May and that works. Depending on schedule, I'm hoping to play some lower entry cost events. But yeah, MGM Grand is surprisingly affordable for 2 nights. A reason that you might want to book now though is that Vegas is in a slump. So we're seeing prices return to 2022 levels, which isn't bad as a deal seeker. If Vegas isn't your jam, I'd look into mid-sized options like Salt Lake City. So Mandy's treating this as a workation while I go ski in Ulta and Snowbird. If you are considering the card, please run the numbers. Change them for your situation and mark down things you won't reasonably use and discount as necessary. There's a lot of credits, but if you don't go to those places, then it doesn't matter. If you want to play with it, we have a calculator that should pop up if you search CSR, worth it, AskSebby. On that note, if you want to learn more about cards, whether this one or pretty much any other card out there, and you want to support the channel, we have links on the website, AskSebby.com, and also down below in the description box. Make sure the links are competitive, that they make sense for you, but otherwise, it's a huge way to support the channel, so thank you in advance. Pro tip, but if you want to minimize out of pocket, you can stack these credits. Let's continue for example. So Kimpton Hotel Monaco in Salt Lake City. Kimpton's part of IHG, so bottom left by the luxury end. It's also part of the edit for Chase, meaning that you get daily breakfast for 2, $100 property credit, room upgrades at check-in if available, and early check-in and late checkout if available. Taking a look at their options, we have 1 queen, 1 king, and 1 king premium, all at the same bottom price, so we might as well do the 1 king premium. Let's do pay now to use the credits, and let's click into it. So here we have the up to 500 and the up to 250 at our disposal that would be eligible for this stay. Given that our total of 673 is below this, I'm not sure which credits would have priority. But yeah, good way to minimize out of pocket and potentially use both credits with one stay. Pro tip number 2 is a stack points boost. Not for everyone, but a great way to minimize out-of-pocket, especially if you aren't regularly getting, let's say, 5 cents per point for your flights, or 3 to 4 cents per point on specific seasonal hotels like ski and ski out ones. Here we're locking in 2 cents per point, using about 34K to cover almost 680. Points and using statement credits feel mutually exclusive, but they're really not. Let's say you fully used up the edit credit already and you're left with the bottom one. So we have $250 to use. In that case, you'd want to charge $250 to the card to trigger the credit. With Pay with Card, you can't really do anything or change how much is paid where. It just charges the full amount. Instead, we'd want to use points. The big question is how many. We take the total price minus the value of credits we're trying to use. So in this case, 673 minus 250 is 423. Divide that number by 0.02, we have 21,169. We're changing this number to 21,169, which still locks in 2 cents per point, covering about 420 in value, and then 250 is charged to the card, which triggers the credit. Yeah, great sweet spot if you don't otherwise normally get 2 cents per point. If you're someone that likes nice hotels, but you don't like the hassle of looking for availability and dealing with award charts and stuff, then this is not a bad option at all. For Hyatts, you probably are leaving a bit of money on the table, but it also depends on you. There can be a lot of value in not having to check award space every day, especially if your player 2 doesn't like being last minute. Points boost is highly valuable here. They're also valuable for the non-points chains like Rosewood, Four Seasons, and Amman. Finishing up, let's take a look at my wish list since they seemingly are listening. A big one for the edit is to remove the 2-night stay requirement. On my end, I like trying nice hotels. I also end up making reviews on the Sebby Funk channel so people can make educated decisions. One night at $750 or $1,000 I can justify for myself or to my accountant, but 2 nights is a bit tough. And to be fair, I get why one night can be problematic for cheaper hotels. But the hotels on their platform lean more expensive anyways, with the exception of Vegas. Booking directly on MGM, Park MGM for November 17th to 19th would be $347.40 total. This includes the room rate, estimated taxes, and resort fees. With Chase, for the same dates, it's somehow cheaper. All-in cost here is $328. And yes, fees are included here, so resort fees are already part of this. On top of this, you get a $100 dining credit, room upgrades if available, and early and late checkout if available. If the concern is these cheaper bookings maybe have an either-or requirement, so 2 nights or at least $500 or something. I do know that for other platforms, they pretty much charge about $50 more to give you 100 dining and 60 breakfast, and that's something that people seem to be fine with. Yeah, even other non-credit card VIP rates don't have this minimum. Locking into Cardnomics, which allows us to access travel advisor rates, let's say we go back to Salt Lake City. Same dates we were looking at before with the edit, let's say February 13th. We see the Kimpton for $335 per night here with taxes and fees, so all in for 2 nights would be the same $670. $335 rate is a direct standard though with no additional perks, and you can pay $10 more, so $345 for VIP perks. So in this case, $10 more gets you daily breakfast for 2 and $100 US credit per stay. No 2-night requirement to access this rate. I'll link to it down below with the current password if you want to check it out for yourself, but there's a lot of options out there. Another big complaint I've covered already is the smaller pool of options. I completely get this, it's a work in progress, and this isn't what the final form is going to be. If it's not there yet though, in the meantime for a year or 2, why not make it work for any hotel on Chase Travel? I get the allure of the perks, but a lot of people would be happy to just use the credit. Also, this isn't even that big of a departure from what they've already done, since the Chase Sapphire Preferred card has this already. Again, I love checking out and visiting nice hotels, and I'm more than happy to pay $900 to get $2,000 in tangible value, and that's fine. But the edit credit felt like the biggest pain to deal with before the end of the year, to the point that I booked and canceled multiple times since I kept getting annoyed. Something about paying $500 out of pocket for the Toms in Seattle just didn't compute. Vegas at least makes sense to me since I wouldn't be there on those dates anyways, even if it is Park MGM and MGM Grand. Long term it's going to be better, but right now it feels very forced. Ironically, I have the same complaint with the Open Table credit. The pool's too small right now and they just need to expand it. For San Francisco, there's a lot of great options that we like Angler, The Progress, also Bodega and Rich Table and Little Shucker aren't bad, and decently affordable for a date night. SF has a good 20 or so options. The issue though is that their competitors have almost 10 times as many at 160 plus. Long term they'll get there, but in the meantime, make it work for any Open Table restaurant. Also, SF isn't even that bad compared to Houston, which was rough. Other platforms have over 120 options in Houston, and we ended up going to Theodore Rex, which was pretty good. Blue Dorn was super tasty and pretty affordable given everything. Think $20 to $30 mains, which is fine. Even if you don't like fancy food, there's a pretty big range. For example, even Benihana is on these competing platforms and works for the credit. Yes, there's fancy sushi like Kata Rabata, but there's also random hot pot places. For example, we went to an all-you-can-eat place called Shabu Zone. On the Chase side, you have more upscale options, and that's pretty consistent. You also just don't have as many picks, so we asked Mandy's parents where they wanted to go, and they didn't want to go to any of these, especially since the majority were downtown, so out of these 12 options, they were all bus. Instead, they wanted to go to Shabu Zone before we even knew it worked for that credit, so I guess it worked out. Yeah, 120 versus 12 is a pretty big difference. Interestingly, for the other credits, I don't really mind them, or at least I understand. It'd be nice for DoorDash to be the whole credit, but they're after monthly active users. StubHub feels pretty fine and more than reasonable to me, super easy to use. Apple TV is fine, and I don't think you can reasonably expect anything else on their end. Lyft is fine, pretty much matches the Uber credits, and again, they're after monthly active users. Peloton I don't really use, but feels fair for that audience and how it works. Main takeaway here is that I travel and I eat. Please make the credits easier to use. I'm curious where everyone else's head is at and what they would want changed. I think certain things like annual fees are locked in, but I do see redemptions changing, and that could be a big lever for them. Again, if you want to learn more about cards, we have links on the website, AskSebby.com, and down below in the description box. And a reminder that all affiliate disclosures can also be found below in the description box. If you made it to this point, leave a salt or salt shaker emoji in the comments down below, and I'll try to heart it and also respond. 3 questions. Number 1, what are your thoughts on the new and updated credits? Number 2, which hotels are you booking? And number 3, what other changes would you like to see? Big favor thumbs up, share this, but otherwise hope you liked it. See you next time.